4.3 Direct and Manage Project Work. Direct and manage project work is the process of leading and performing the work defined in the project management plan and implementing approved changes to achieve the project's objectives. The key benefit of this process is that it provides an overall management of the project work and deliverables, thus improving the probability of project success. This process is performed throughout the project as from PMBOK Guide page 90. From a basic idea or a need, we developed a project charter, a brief, high-level documentation which includes the project purpose, the overall reason why we are doing all this work and what we hope to achieve and what we need to achieve, measurable project objectives and success-related criteria. If you can't measure it, it's not a project objective. High-level requirements, as I said before, everything in the charter is high-level because you haven't done any detailed planning yet, and you haven't really done any high-level planning because the project doesn't exist until this charter has been signed. High-level project description, boundaries and key deliverables, overall project risk, summary milestone schedule, pre-approved financial resources, key stakeholder list, project approval requirements, i.e. what constitutes project success, who decides that the project is successful and who signs off on the project. Project exit criteria, i.e. what are the conditions to be met in order to close or to cancel the project or phase. Just because you've handed over products doesn't mean to say that you have finished the project. Name and authority of the sponsor or other persons authorised in the project charter. Once the project charter has been signed, it formally authorises the existence of the project, formally initiates the project, formally authorises the project manager to plan, execute and control the project, and provides the project manager with the authority to apply organisational resources to project activities. In creating the charter, the project manager uses business documents, the business case and the benefits management plan, but does not update them as they are outside the project. All of the above are important points to remember for the examination, which is why I keep repeating them. They are very important. Once we have our charter completed, the next stage is to develop the project management plan, also known as the project plan. We learned that the project management plan is not just a project schedule. A project management plan is a collection of 18 subplans and baselines, including the project schedule baseline, that are required to execute, monitor and control the project. We saw from table 4.1 in the PMBOK guide that a typical project management plan consists of 18 elements made up of 12 subplans, 4 baselines, a project lifecycle description, and the development approach. The project management plan also uses 33 project management documents, but these documents are not part of the project management plan. Now that we have created the project management plan, this process, i.e. the directed managed project work, uses it to execute the planned project activities to complete the agreed products, services and results. As we saw above, the charter authorises a project manager to manage this process, ask for and apply resources, example team resources, material and financial resources, and attempt to utilise them in the most efficient manner. As the work progresses, the progress will be measured, analysed and compared to the baselines. Data will be sent to the appropriate controlling processes for analysis. The work performance data will also be used as the input to the monitoring and controlling process group and can be used as feedback into lessons learned to improve the performance of future work packages. The project manager does not work alone, but is assisted by the project team in directing the performance of the planned project activities and manages the interactions between the team and various technical organisational groups and representatives. Direct and managed project work also requires review of the impact of all project changes and the implementation of approved changes. corrective actions, preventative actions, defect repairs, or additional ideas or content requested by the stakeholders. Corrective actions are where the project performance is falling short and needs to be realigned. Preventative actions are where future project performance is predicted to fall short and needs to be realigned to prevent it happening. A defect repair is a modification to a non-conforming product or product component to bring it back into conformance, and stakeholders can request that their ideas be added to the project. Direct and manage project work inputs. Number 1, project management plan. This is the main plan driving the entire project. Any component of it may be an input to this process because the process covers the whole range of directing and managing activities in relation to the project work, which in turn will be influenced by the application areas and the environment. Input number 2, project documents. Project documents that can be considered as inputs for this process are the change log. The change log contains the status of all the change requests, which may be review, on hold, approved, rejected, needing clarification, or whatever your company decides to use. The PMBOK guide is not prescriptive in this area. The lessons learned area. This holds lessons learned and can be of assistance in directing and managing the project work and improving performance by showing what worked well before and what didn't. So you can use it to improve project performance and avoid some of the mistakes. 2 old sayings spring to mind. The first is, a clever person learns from their mistakes, but a wise person learns from the mistakes of others. And the other saying is, if we don't learn from the past, we are doomed to repeat it. These lessons learned will also make you more effective in managing your team and for setting reliable guidelines for them, which in turn will make them more confident. This is important because you're responsible for developing, empowering and encouraging your team as you learn in Module 9, Project Resource Management. If you're familiar with the PMBOK guide, I've never heard of Project Resource Management before. That's because it's new with the PMBOK guide 6th edition. Before the 6th edition, this area was called Human Resource Management. But PMI decided that this knowledge area should be expanded to cover physical resources as well as human resources, and that makes a lot of sense. We're talking about the inputs to the direct and managed project work, and in particular components of the project management plan. Next one on our list is the milestone list, which shows the scheduled dates for specific milestones. And so it's like an extremely high level schedule. If you just need a quick overview, go to the milestone list. But if you need a lot of detail, go to the schedule. Project communications, which includes project performance reports and current status of the deliverables. Project schedule, which includes at least a list of work activities, estimated durations, resources assigned to the activities, and planned start and finish dates. So that's just the minimum that you require. Requirements traceability matrix, which links the deliverables back to their requirements, who required them, why they were required, and also what their status is. Risk register, which provides a list of possible events which may impact positively or negatively on the project or its products. It may sound strange that a risk can have a positive impact, but remember, this type of risk is called an opportunity. Risk report, which provides information on sources of overall project risk, along with summary information on identified individual project risks. That's the end of the list of the components of the project management plan that may be required for the direct and managed project work process inputs. Input number 2 is approved change requests. Approved change requests are the output of the Perform integrated change control process and include those requests reviewed and approved for implementation by the project manager or by the Change Control Board, CCB, when applicable. The approved change request may be a corrective action, a preventative action, or a defect repair. Approved change requests are scheduled and implemented by the project team and can impact any area of the project or project management plan. The approved change request can also modify the formally controlled project management plan components or project documents. Input number 4 is the enterprise environmental factors, and in particular organisational structure, culture, management practices and sustainability. The infrastructure, i.e. what plant, machinery and buildings does the company control, which you might be able to borrow for your project. Stakeholder risk thresholds, what is the maximum level of risk they are willing to face before they start having nightmares. Input number 5, organisational process assets, including organisational standard policies, processes and procedures. Issue and defect management procedures, defining issue and defect control, issue and defect identification and resolution, and action item tracking. Issue and defect management databases containing historical issue and defect status, issue and defect resolution, and action item results. Performance measurement database used to collect and make available measurement data on processes and products. Change control and risk control procedures and project information from previous projects, e.g. scope, cost schedule, performance management baselines, project calendars, project schedule network diagrams, risk registers, risk reports and lessons learned repository. Now we'll examine the tools and techniques. Number 1, expert judgment for the following topics: technical knowledge of the industry and focus area of the project, cost and budget management, legal and procurement, legislation, regulations and organisational governance. Tools and techniques number 2, project management information system. This means computer software such as scheduling software, work authorization systems, configuration management systems, information collection distribution systems, online automated systems such as corporate knowledge base repositories, and systems for gathering information for and reporting on key performance indicators, KPIs. Please note that the examination will never mention a particular software package by name. Tools and techniques number 3, meetings. The sort of meetings that you might need during the direct and managed project work could include kick-off meetings. You may be wondering how there could be more than one kick-off meeting, but some projects include phases, which are like mini projects within the main project, and you could actually have a kick-off meeting for each one of those if they're large enough. Other meetings could include meetings with technical experts, sprint or iteration planning, Scrum daily stand-ups, steering groups, problem solving, progress update and retrospective meetings. Direct and managed project work outputs. Number 1 is the deliverables. It's rare that a project, other than a very small one, will have just one single deliverable right at the end of a project. It's much more likely that products, results and capabilities to perform a service that's required to be produced to complete a process, phase or project will be delivered throughout the project. Deliverables, as well as being outputs intended for customers of the project, could also be deliverables required to manage the project, such as sub-plans or other components of the project management plan. As soon as the very first version or release of a deliverable has been completed, it should be registered in the configuration management system so that there'll be no confusion between this and future releases of the same deliverable, and the deliverable should also be subject to change control. I've often noticed on projects, especially information technology projects, that the technical developers tend to view deliverables as available for ad hoc changes right until the project has been completed. There's resistance to change control, but it is necessary. Output number 2, work performance data. These are the various measurements that will be recorded from the project work activities. Actually, the word data is plural. The singular version is datum. However, the PMBOK guide gets a bit confused by it. Sometimes you'll see the grammar correct, e.g. data are often reviewed at the lowest level of detail from other information is derived by other processes. Data are is actually correct because data is plural. That sounds strange, but in the very next sentence the PMBOK guide gets it wrong. It says data is gathered through work execution and passed to the controlling processes for further analysis. Not that it really matters as long as you know what data is, where it comes from and what to do with it. Examples of work performance data include work completed, key performance indicators, KPIs, technical performance measures, actual start and finish dates of scheduled activities, story points completed, deliverable status, schedule progress, number of change requests, number of defects, actual costs incurred, actual durations, etc. Output number 3, issue log. On the subject of singular and plural, I wish the PMBOK guide called the issue log the issues log and called the assumption log the assumptions log, because I'm sure that's what everybody else in the world calls them. However, the issue log is a list of problems, gaps, inconsistencies or conflicts that occur unexpectedly and they require some action, usually by the project manager, so they do not negatively impact project performance. The issue log may contain the following data: issue type, who raised the issue and when, description, priority, who is assigned to the issue, target resolution date, status and final resolution. And as I may have mentioned before, when the PMBOK guide says that something may contain something, in the exam you'll usually find that the question assumes it does contain all of those items. In fact, one of the main dangers in the exam is trying to answer the question as if you're managing one of your usual projects. The exam questions are usually predicated on the assumption that you're managing a huge, lengthy project with hundreds of stakeholders for many years, and you'll carry out every process and every report or plan will have every field mentioned in the PMBOK guide. The direct managed project work process will create the issue log. The project manager will use it to track and manage issues, and it's updated by the monitoring and controlling activities throughout the project. Output number 4, change requests. These are formal proposals to modify any document, deliverable or baseline. Changes may be requested by any stakeholder, including the project manager, but the project manager has no authority to implement changes unless they have been approved through the Perform Integrated Change Control process. Change requests can be initiated from inside or outside the project, and they can be optional or legally, contractually mandated. Change requests may include corrective action to realign the performance of a project work with the project management plan, preventative action to ensure future performance of the project work will be aligned within the project management plan, defect repair to modify or repair a non-conforming product or product component. Change requests may include updates, which are changes to formally control project documents, plans, etc. to reflect modified or additional ideas or content. Output number 5, the project management plan updates. Any change to any component of the project management plan should go through the organization's change control process via a change request. Output number 6, project document updates. Project documents that may be updated as a result of carrying out this process include the activity list. We haven't covered an activity list yet. We'll do that in project schedule management. The activity list is an add-on to the work breakdown structure that decomposes work packages down into the activities required to deliver them. During the direct and manage project work process, you might discover the need to add activities or modify existing ones. The assumption log. Your assumptions and constraints may be added, and the status of existing assumptions and constraints may be updated, or they could be closed out. Lessons learned register. Any lessons learned that will improve performance for current or future projects are recorded as it's learned. Don't wait until the end of the project to record your lessons learned. You will forget them, or you will misremember them, or the person who knows them will leave the company. Record the lessons as you learn them. Requirements documentation. New requirements may be identified during this process, and you can update progress towards meeting project requirements. Risk register. New risks may be identified and existing risks may be updated during this process. Risks are recorded in the risk register via risk management processes. Stakeholder register may be updated. We certainly have a lot of outputs for this process, but the final output is Number 7, organizational process asset updates. Any organizational process asset may be updated as a result of this process. Enterprise environmental factors are not updated by this process. Why not? Because enterprise environmental factors are outside the project. They're followed by the project manager, but as they're outside the project, they're outside of the control of the project manager. In a previous lesson, we learned about other documents that are used by the project manager, but the project manager does not have authority to update them. Can you remember what they are? They are the project business case and the project benefits management plan. Okay, that completes the direct and manage project work process. The next lesson is 4.4, manage project knowledge. Please read the corresponding chapter in a PMBOK guide before watching the video.